In the 18th century, South India was a land where the air was thick with the scent of spices, and every port echoed with the sounds of intrigue and ambition. This was a time when the world's gaze turned to Kerala, a region famed for its pepper, cardamom, and cinnamon, treasures that drew merchants and conquerors from distant shores. The once mighty Mughal Empire was crumbling, leaving Kerala's small kingdoms exposed and vulnerable. Its ports teemed with European traders, Portuguese, Dutch, and British, each vying for control of the lucrative spice trade. Pepper, known as black gold, was at the heart of this fierce competition, and whoever controlled it held the keys to unimaginable wealth and influence. Amidst this swirling chaos and uncertainty, a child was born. Anijam Thirunal Marthanda Varma, destined to inherit the fractured and embattled state of Venad. From a young age he witnessed the fragility of power and the dangers lurking in every shadow. True authority did not rest with the king, but with the Etuvitil Pilamar, a powerful council of nobles. These men were cunning and ruthless, treating kings as mere figureheads to be manipulated or discarded at will. Marthanda Varma's youth was marked by constant danger. He learned to navigate a world of assassins and spies, realizing that survival demanded not just courage, but the ability to outwit both his local adversaries and the foreign merchants who sought to control his homeland. He watched as Europeans played a dangerous game, offering military support to local rulers in exchange for influence and territory. Their promises were tempting, but their true intentions were clear. They sought to carve out empires of their own on Indian soil. Marthanda Varma soon understood that these were not mere traders. They were the vanguard of powerful new empires, armed with advanced weapons and relentless ambition. To secure the future of his people and his kingdom, Marthanda Varma knew he would have to confront not only the traitors within his own court, but also the foreign invaders at his gates. It would be a struggle for survival, demanding both strength and strategy. His journey would be one of bloodshed and brilliance, a relentless quest to unite his land and forge a destiny that would defy the might of Europe. Every decision, every battle, would shape the future of Kerala and echo through the annals of Indian history. The rise of Travancore is not just the tale of a kingdom, but the story of one man's unwavering determination to challenge the world's greatest powers and leave an indelible mark on the history of India. At the very southern tip of India lies Travancore, a land where emerald fields stretch to the horizon and ancient forests whisper with secrets. This region, blessed with abundant rainfall and fertile soil, was a natural paradise, but its true legacy was not just its beauty. Travancore's real wealth was hidden in its spice-laden air. The forests and plantations brimmed with black pepper, cardamom, and cinnamon, aromas that would change the course of history. These precious spices were more valuable than gold, drawing merchants and adventurers from across the world. The promise of fortune made Travancore a magnet for global trade, but also a tempting target for conquest. The Portuguese, Dutch, English, and French all competed fiercely for control, building imposing forts along the coast and weaving complex alliances with local rulers. Each power sought to dominate the spice trade and shape the region's destiny. The port of Kolokol became a flashpoint, a place where European ambition and Travancore's fate would dramatically collide, setting the stage for epic confrontations. At the heart of this struggle was Marthanda Varma, a visionary ruler who recognized that whoever controlled the spice trade held the keys to the region's future. He saw opportunity where others saw only conflict. Determined to unite Kerala's fragmented lands, Marthanda Varma used the wealth from spices to build a modern, formidable army, one capable of defending his kingdom and realizing his dream of unity. By establishing a strict state monopoly on pepper, he redirected immense profits away from powerful nobles and foreign traders, channeling them directly into the royal treasury to strengthen his rule. This bold economic strategy was as crucial as any military campaign. It provided the resources needed to fund his vision of a sovereign, powerful state, one that could stand strong against foreign threats. Travancore's remarkable rise was built on the foundation of its spices and the king's shrewd, forward-thinking policies. The land flourished, and its people prospered. In this new era, it was not just armies or fortresses, but economic power, rooted in the humble peppercorn, that became the true source of strength and sovereignty. Marthanda Varma's throne was one of thorns, not gold. The Etuvitil Pilamar and temple elites held real power, opposing any king who challenged them. Marthanda Varma survived assassination attempts, living in hiding and learning to be ruthless. He knew he had to crush internal dissent before facing foreign threats. The Dutch East India Company, dominant on the coast, supported his rivals and meddled in local politics. Marthanda Varma faced a two-front war: rebellious nobles within and European interference from without. His early reign was a relentless campaign to consolidate power and unify his kingdom. Only by eliminating internal threats could he hope to resist the Europeans. Marthanda Varma revolutionized his military, replacing feudal levies with a professional standing army loyal to the state. He recruited and paid soldiers directly, breaking the power of local chieftains. Inspired by European tactics, he hired mercenaries to train his troops in modern warfare. The Travancore Brigade became his sharp sword, disciplined and effective. Funding this army required economic reform. He established a state monopoly on pepper, filling the treasury and starving rebellious nobles of wealth. With new resources, he expanded his kingdom, annexing neighboring principalities with ruthless efficiency. His modern army outmatched the old feudal forces, rapidly consolidating Travancore's territory. By the late 1730s, Marthanda Varma had transformed from a fugitive prince to a formidable king. His rise alarmed the Dutch, who saw their influence threatened. The Dutch East India Company, or VOC, had long dominated the Malabar coast by keeping kingdoms divided. Marthanda Varma's state monopoly on pepper and military expansion threatened their profits and power. In 1739, Dutch Governor Van Imhoff confronted the king, demanding he halt his campaigns. Marthanda Varma's defiant reply, he joked of invading Europe, signaled he would not be intimidated. The Dutch, wounded in pride and pocket, prepared for war, rallying local allies against Travancore. They promised to restore territories to rival rulers in exchange for support. The Dutch assembled a powerful expeditionary force, planning to attack from the sea and crush Marthanda Varma. The fate of Travancore and European power in the region would be decided in the coming battle. The lines were drawn for a confrontation that would shape history. The stage was set for a clash at Colachel. In the year 1740, the powerful Dutch East India Company, seeking to expand its influence in southern India, landed a formidable fleet at the port of Colachel. Their arrival was swift and overwhelming, and they quickly seized control of the port, establishing a strong foothold on the Kerala coast. The Dutch wasted no time in fortifying their position, building defenses and preparing for a prolonged campaign. But Marthanda Varma, the astute ruler of Travancore, immediately recognized the grave threat posed by this European invasion. He responded with urgency, dispatching a rapid response force to contain the Dutch before they could advance further inland. Rather than risking a costly direct assault, Marthanda Varma devised a clever strategy. He ordered a complete blockade, cutting off the Dutch from all supplies by both land and sea. Roads were barricaded, and the coastline was closely watched to prevent any reinforcements or provisions from reaching the invaders. The local fishermen, deeply familiar with the treacherous waters and hidden inlets, played a crucial role in this blockade. They used their small boats to monitor Dutch movements, sabotage supply runs, and ensure that no food or ammunition could reach the stranded Dutch soldiers. As the days dragged on, the monsoon rains arrived in full force. Torrential downpours turned the Dutch camp into a miserable, disease-ridden quagmire. Tents flooded, supplies rotted, and sickness spread rapidly among the troops, sapping their strength and morale. Isolated and increasingly desperate, the Dutch found themselves cut off from their local allies, who now hesitated to support a losing cause. The once confident invaders grew frustrated and demoralized, their hopes of victory fading with each passing day. After weeks of relentless siege and mounting pressure, Marthanda Varma's main army finally advanced. With discipline and determination, the Travancore forces launched a decisive assault on the Dutch fortifications, overwhelming the exhausted defenders. In the chaos of battle, a lucky cannon shot struck the Dutch gunpowder magazine, triggering a massive explosion. Smoke and debris filled the air, sowing confusion and panic among the Dutch ranks. Seizing the moment, Travancore's soldiers stormed the fort, engaging in fierce and brutal hand-to-hand combat. Swords clashed, spears thrust, and the fighting raged from ramparts to courtyards in a desperate struggle for control. By the end of that bloody day, the Dutch were utterly defeated. Their commander, Admiral de Lannoy, was captured along with hundreds of his men, marking a humiliating end to the Dutch campaign. The sea at Colachel ran red with the blood of the fallen, a haunting symbol of the ferocity of the battle. This moment would become a turning point, not just for Travancore, but for the entire history of Indian and European encounters. Against all odds, Travancore had achieved the unthinkable, the defeat of a major European colonial power on Indian soil, forever altering the balance of power in the region. Marthanda Varma's next move was pure genius. Instead of executing Dutch commander Delanoy, he offered him a choice: prison or service. Delanoy, impressed by the king's vision, swore allegiance and became Travancore's chief military advisor. Under his guidance, the army adopted European tactics, artillery, and fortifications. Delanoy oversaw the construction of the Travancore lines and Udayagiri fort, transforming the kingdom's defenses. The knowledge meant to conquer Travancore now protected it. Delanoy served faithfully for decades, helping expand and secure the kingdom. His loyalty and expertise became a cornerstone of Travancore's strength. Marthanda Varma's pragmatism turned a foe into an invaluable ally. Marthanda Varma was more than a conqueror, he was a nation builder. His reformed centralized government created a professional bureaucracy and rationalized taxes, bringing order to a once feudal land. In 1750 he dedicated his kingdom to the deity Padmanabha Swami, ruling as the god's servant, a masterstroke that united throne, temple, and people. This act gave his rule divine legitimacy and integrated temple wealth with the state. He was a patron of arts and culture, transforming his capital and supporting Kerala's classical traditions. His reign sparked a cultural renaissance alongside political consolidation. Most importantly, he shattered the myth of European invincibility at Colachel. Travancore's victory ended Dutch ambitions and inspired resistance across India. Marthanda Varma proved that vision, unity, and adaptation could defy colonial power. His legacy endures as a model of leadership and resilience. Marthanda Varma's story is a timeless lesson in leadership and resilience. He saw beyond crisis, envisioning a unified sovereign kingdom and never wavering from that goal. His strategy blended military modernization, economic reform, and shrewd diplomacy. He adapted European strengths to defend his own culture, showing the power of learning from adversaries. His life was marked by setbacks and betrayals, but he turned adversity into opportunity. The triumph of Travancore was the triumph of one man's indomitable will. Marthanda Varma reminds us that history is shaped by those with courage and conviction. In an age of colonial conquest, he created a space for his people to flourish. His legacy is an enduring inspiration. With vision, strategy, and spirit, even the greatest odds can be overcome.